Hello, I'm Caleb Bremple, and this is Teaching Strategies for Independent Learning in the General Education Classroom. For our agenda today, we're going to go over self-awareness, self-advocacy, and self-determination. In these, we'll have independent learning strategies and how to successfully implement them into the classroom. So for our three things that we're going over today in self-determination, we'll want to be looking at this as more of a life skill. So we'll set goals and make decisions one step at a time. And then we have our reflection games. One of them is the self-determination game, just to make it a little bit more engaging. When we move on to self-awareness, it'll be embedded into our weekly social emotional learning time, and we can do reflections as a class. Oh, that will be for self-determination. And then self-advocacy, basically we want students to be able to stick up for themselves and be able to ask questions without being ashamed. That would be a main goal of our classroom culture. So for independent learning strategies, there's 6 steps to it, but we will want to assess the current strategy use. So look over whatever our district is doing and see what we can take from that and what we might want to change. We'll go over the expectations with each of our students, and then we will demonstrate how we use this strategy, encourage memorizing, and that would lead into guided and independent practice. And then we will have the post-test reassessments to see what we need to change and what we need to get better at. So let's hop into our strategies here. We have word identification and reading fluency. The strategy that we like to use for this is called WARF. So you widen the eye span, avoid skipbacks, and read silently. So first we want to model to the group how this works, and just kind of check how the student is reading: faster, skimming, slower for deep reading. You can use choral reading as well and track the progress with a fluency graph. So this would be something that we continually go over and we keep building on week by week here. Our next strategy we have is vocabulary. We would use morpheme mapping for this. So instead of having students memorize these long words list, I would teach them how to break each word into pieces, the prefixes, roots, and suffixes. For example, if they see unbelievable, they'll know un, the prefix means not, and the suffix able would be capable of. The challenge is we could have a little bit of fun with this, the weekly word detective, where we can find all those little morphemes in each word. And the games just kind of bring some more engagement into this. Next, we'll look at our reading comprehension strategy, and this is POSSE. So we predict, organize, search, summarize, and evaluate. This is nice for the more organized teachers. You can get all your graphic organizers and color code them and all that fun stuff. Sadly, that is not my forte, but it is something that I have been getting better at as a teacher. And as I get more years under my belt, I can accumulate these nice organized things rather than kind of going by on the fly. So obviously the first thing you'll want to do is guide the whole class through this, do it with them, and then let them go on their own. In a lot of these, you'll see strategies that implement the I do, we do, you do, so we can get the independent learning going here. So, and then the last step here we have is the think, pair, share with reciprocal teaching. Okay. On the listening and note-taking strategy, we use cues, and this is cluster points, use cues, enter vocab, and summarize. So this is all about, obviously, note-taking. We want to be able to take notes for short lectures. We don't want to overextend their attention span. especially to start. So there are a couple cues you want to look at, like what is important or what are the reasons for this. And at first, we'll start with guided notes, and then as we continue to get better, we'll just give them the notebook and see what they can do there for taking notes. So, and what we would do is pair them up with partners, and they can review and share notes with each other and revise them based on what the other people found important. Next, we have our writing strategy. This is POW plus tree. So first one, the POW is pick ideas, organize thoughts, and write. Tree would be topic, sentence, reasons, explanations, and ending. So this one I would put on the board. We would do think out louds with peer feedback. So one thing that is suggested in chapter 10 as well as other places is using the tag strategy. So tell, ask, and give suggestions. And at the end of the day, we're celebrating progress. And this isn't just about getting good grades, it's about getting better. And we will celebrate that, recognize that, and reward that. Next, we have problem solving in math. And the strategy we would use for this is called STAR. Search, translate, answer, and review. So for a lot of students, I specifically teach 6th grade math, so I get to see this up close. They struggle with math. This is the one where a lot of students, they just want to give up. It takes a lot of extra brain power, and it is one of the subjects in school where you're building on it year by year. So if you don't get it, it becomes tougher and tougher to catch up. And so what we would want to do is teach the manipulatives. This is especially for students that do better with tactical learning. You need something that you can feel. And this helps them see it at first. So after we have those manipulatives that we use, we go into the real world problems, some word problems, and I like to do some fun projects along with this. For each unit, I try to do some different project, whether or not that is tangible or having manipulatives. Try to do something that applies to something they could see in everyday life. So again, that's using the STAR strategies. So we search, translate, answer, and review. And then we incorporate weekly review stations for extra practice. This could go with any of the things, but I have noticed in my first year of teaching that if you don't practice the skill over and over and over again, it's going to be in one ear and out the other. And I struggled with this our first couple units, but towards the end of the year, we started to practice things more and more to the point where students are almost even saying this is boring and I understand this, I know what to do. But in my mind, I want it to become so second nature that it bores them and then we can keep upping the difficulty. But the review is especially important. Okay, our time management and organization strategy. This is called HOPS. So we want to focus on organizing binders, tracking homework, and time management. So the daily planners are huge for this. I remember in middle school, they gave each student a daily planner. It had your day by day, weeks, week by week, all the stuff that you needed. And what we would do is at the beginning of the day, you write down all your classes. Each teacher sends in what you're going to be doing for each class and the homework or assignments that you will be doing in class or after class. And that becomes a checklist that you can check off as you get them done. And at the end of the day, you would review those steps and assignments that need to get done. And then we didn't do, well, I guess if I remember right, we did end up doing prizes, but especially for this group, we would use rewards and praise for consistent planner use. And this is just something where if we can reward having this management and organization, that's going to make all the other things come so easily. So this is really one of the biggest pieces of independent study and a major life skill moving forward. So all that to say, we want to teach strategies that help them work on self, and so they can get this done on their own in the future. Make it visible. We'll have these posters all over the wall. Practice and celebrate improvement. That's the biggest thing. When your students see that they're being rewarded for doing good, they will continue to do good things. So thank you for the time, and have a great evening.